Well, hi. Thanks for talking to me. Appreciate it. Um,
Nice to meet
really,
you.
real nice to meet you too. I'm really enjoying this series. Waiting for them to send more. I've seen six of them, so I'm really liking it so far. But to start out, why don't you talk about what was it that drew you to it, made you want to be a part of it?
Character, Blaine, a preacher. Like that's not something that I'm coming across all the time. And I just thought that this character, with sort of at that point this look I had going, which continues with this hair, I just thought, man, what an interesting character. And again, the being able to preach and being able to speak those words, I mean, anyone who's is a preacher comes from that with the Bible. It's Shakespearean in a sense. So you got to have this very, very unique, different character for me to explore, and that was very appealing to me.
Right. I assume at least since you got the part, you've read the comics or part of the comics.
Yes, I mean I'm not. It's even like with The Walking Dead and all these other. They're all based on graphic. Snowpiercer. I just don't read. I don't read graphic novels. I look at them, but I can't. I think the only one I've actually read front to back is one called From Hell. I believe it's like quite a famous. It's all about Jack the Ripper. Um, and I think I read that, but other than that, I mean, yes, I got it and I look at it. You sort of get a sense of the world in a bit, but I'm not a cover to cover graphic novel guy. And also, Blaine was not going to follow the comics. We knew that early on. We were going to develop him differently than the comic books. So it wasn't something that I could, do for research anyway. So I just got a sense of the world, kind of looked at it. Oh, cool. But then I lose interest in graphic novels.
That's okay. Well, where other than the script then, I guess if you didn't take so much from the comic, where did you pull from? I mean, is there anywhere else you were sort of inspired by as you were, creating your version of him?
Well, I mean, it's always the words for me. It's the words, and honestly, the if it's well written, it makes an actor's job so much easier because it's right there on the page. So obviously, the way he speaks, the way he presents himself, his stillness became more. Well, we began to film, and that became sort of another level of Blaine. This I quickly sort of fell into this thing of, no, I don't need to really raise my voice because the person that judges you is up there. So it became sort of more of this feeling like powerful in his stillness and the power of like it's someone else doing the job. Because again, feeling for him, Revival Day is sort of this, it's a calling, right? And so that sort of came more once we were up and filming, but certainly the discussion of the stillness and the the which I am wearing. I feel like I'm hawking Nick Cave today, but I'm and which actually the full, so the hair, that was kind of what was going to go on. And I was initially maybe going to dye it black like Nick Cave, but that was a big thing just from Nick Cave's performances and, listening to him speak. I at one point thought, oh, maybe I'll do an accent, but just not for Wasatch, not for the small town. But he was a big inspiration for his, even his look. And that I sort of wanted something like that. So all those came about through, reading it, and then once you get on set, it becomes something more or different.
Was there anything you did research wise into like cult leaders, that kind of thing? I mean, I know he's a preacher, but he is kind of a cult leader too. I mean, it becomes
Yeah.
a little different.
Which it's funny because it's always a good sign when because of course you don't take pictures on set. Um, but when I sent a picture of our first, I think it was at the garage when they come to my garage. I'm standing there and there was this gentle breeze blowing and my hair was kind of like a Beyonce fan. And I sent the picture to my missus and she was like, I'd join your cult. And she didn't know anything about like a cult leader, but it was just like the right response of like, okay, we've got this figure, we've got this guy, this character right. Because there is that cultish element. I mean, that's religion too. Religion's a
Yeah.
cult way. I mean, depends what how you want to consider it all, but um, that sort of devotion is culty. And so, this he's trying to amass more of a following because he's yes, this man of God who believes that this is a message, right? The survival day. So, yeah, that's the prep. I don't like to do. I'll watch general things, but I don't get too specific because then you get locked into things. Even, I love the dramaturg, I love doing research, I love reading about stuff, but not specific because then there can be a tendency to maybe fall back on something you saw.
Hmm.
It's not your own. Then it becomes you're kind of copying someone, and I didn't want to have the trope of a preacher or a cult leader. Because I think like I watched Apostle, Robert Duvall, which I hadn't seen in years. But then I didn't want to get him to, oh, hey, Lord. I wanted him more still. So that's why, again, I didn't want to get tied to too many things. I'd watch little snippets,
Hmm.
but then, you watch some of those, even YouTube, and it just gets very,
So you can go down a rabbit hole with it.
yeah. And it gets too, like, I didn't want him to be all screaming and shouting. I wanted him to be just very still and just and that I think if I would have probably kept going down the rabbit hole, it would have been tougher to keep that stillness because you sort of have in your mind, oh, they need to be all, and I didn't want that. I wanted to do something different.
Yeah, talk about sort of his trajectory, I guess, over the season, because you start with we see him and he seems to be this guy, the sheriff knows, we don't really know a lot about him, but he's not even scared he found the baby or anything like that, to he's, I don't want to say burning the woman alive in this new episode because clearly she's dead, but it goes to that to, I don't know, then kind of as the season goes on, you get a little more worried about his group. So yeah, talk about sort of that journey, I guess, that he's on.
Well, again, with the revivers, right? On a revival day, he believes that this is like the revivers are the devil's children in a sense, right? So his belief of being this man of God is the only way to save our town is to rid them of the devil. Like it's the devil's work. So that's becomes his sort of mission and convincing others that, hey, we want to save our town from these revivers. And it's so interesting because it really becomes a lot about sort of the scarlet letter, right? Of it's not because they've just come back from the dead, it's just because they're different. And it's just like, oh, I believe in this higher power and you're different than me, so let's get rid of you. I find that, very interesting because obviously we've got a lot of division in this world nowadays. So it's interesting to sort of play with that and see how that plays out. As things progress in the show, things, things get better or worse depending what side you're on.
I was gonna say, I'm not sure how close they're going to the comics, but he might, I don't know, he might be dangerous. We'll have to see and wait and see. Was there anything that you had difficulty with this role, like either connecting with or just in general?
Um, It took me a while to find a good salad in the town we were shooting. That was my biggest thing. And it wasn't until later in the shoot someone told me of a great salad place. And then I was very satiated with healthy, delicious salad. That was the toughest thing. Because other than that, it was, it's a great group. I mean, there's beautiful setting. You got to explore. So that was all wonderful. So. Yeah, I think finding the salad was the toughest.
Well, that's
That
good, I
it,
guess. That's a good thing, right? Do you have a favorite scene that you can talk about without spoiling, or that's already happened? Maybe if it's something, then it doesn't matter so much.
um, I loved the church, the church where I get to sing a hymn, which was wonderful. I kept somehow slipping into the tune of like a Christmas jingle, and it was, it wasn't, it was, but for some reason I kept falling into a bit of a Christmas tune. But that was one of my favorite scenes because I got to sing like to the, at first I thought it was going to be like this congregation,
Mhm.
like a full church. Um, and so that was super exciting. And then I kind of give this whole sermon, if you will, and there's just this beautiful, slow panning right in to Blaine. That was fun. And it just looks epic. The church and the candles everywhere. That was a fun scene to do.
All right, hope to look forward to that. I know we're almost out of time, but let me ask you really quick because I know we've been doing a live stream by the way on the show. We've been talking about it a lot.
Oh,
But
cool.
my co-host wanted me to ask you something about Dead City because we do enjoy Walking Dead. So I just want to ask, I know you did sort of the flashback thing. Would you do it again if they asked you back to do
Yeah, I mean, I love Jeffrey, and AMC and the gang, the family is wonderful. We've just all spent wonderful time together in Europe recently. Um, yeah, I mean, anytime you get to play, it's a great day. So if they wanted Simon back, I mean, I think it'd be fun to have a whole Simon, just do a Simon episode.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. We were talking last night about Tales of the Walking Dead. They need to do that again and do different characters and pull
Yeah,
in
just have an episode of a
individual episodes.
backstory.
Yeah, that would be fun.
But yeah, certainly I would be open to that because I love him over there and love Jeff. So
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much. Appreciate your time and looking
you.
forward to more of Revival anyway.
Yes. Well, good luck in space. I hope
Oh,
all that space
thank
back
you.
there looks very, very fun up there
Yes,
in the
it is.
universe.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a good rest of your day.
Yeah, you as well. Thank you so much.
Sure. Bye bye.